Hey, beautiful souls, beautiful sunshine here with the Holistic Killer, aka Sonia B. I am back with another prophetic message. I actually have two messages for you guys, one that I received on Saturday and another one I received this morning. So, if you guys are new to my channel, I just want to say welcome. And for those of you who are returning back, I want to say welcome back. Keep in mind that these energies could be happening right now at this present moment for you, or it could be happening within a few days, and it could be happening a couple of weeks out, or within the near future, month, 3 months out is what I'm hearing. So keep that in mind as well too. But that all just depends on your location on the planet. Anyway, so with all that being said, let's get right into the message. So, okay. The first message that I received on Saturday, which was so funny because it was actually 9/11, but how this dream came through was, it was like my old childhood neighborhood growing up. My mom had owned a condo, so she had a condo, and I noticed that as me and my kids and the dog was leaving the condo, we kind of paused at the stop sign as we were leaving, and as we were leaving out, it's like I was just kind of taking everything in, like, wow, like I grew up here in a sense, like now I'm leaving here. And as I was going further out towards the entrance, as we were leaving further out of the condominium development, I had basically noticed that a lot of houses were boarded up. And you know how like when houses are abandoned and they board them up with wood or whatever the case may be. So I noticed a lot of the houses were boarded up, but I also noticed that there was still maybe like one person staying in maybe like each building, and I'm not going to say each building because it came through as if it was definitely abandoned in the sense like some people had moved out, but the other people who were remaining there at this present moment, should I say, they're basically, it's almost like they're there, but they're going to be there, I guess, until like they learn the lesson is what I'm hearing, or until they become, until they decide to move in a sense. So anyway, as we were leaving out, like I said, a lot of the homes were boarded up. And it was almost like I was saying my goodbyes to this area. Like I had been in this area for a minute now, should I say. And then it's just like, once we made it out to the main street to leave out, we were on the sidewalk and we had to cross over a bridge. And as we crossed over the bridge, we knew that we had to cross over a bridge, but I saw the bridge ahead. But the funny thing about it was there was like this older gentleman. He was an older man, like an elderly man or whatever. He was like in the way on the sidewalk. So it's almost like I wanted to let him go ahead and just kind of like, because he was in front of us. So I just kind of paused and I waited just to see how long it was going to take him to go over the bridge, you know, because I didn't want to be too close to him in a sense. So it got to the point that right before we had actually crossed over the bridge, it's funny because we kind of veered to the left. And as we veered to the left, there was a building that was sitting right there off to the side. And as we sat off to the side of the building, it's like the older gentleman who was in front of us, he also went over to the side, but he had went into the building as if he was choosing to stay in a sense. So me and my kids were off on the side of the building, as well as our dog as well too. She was on the side as well too. And it's like we were standing there. You know what it was? It's basically before we went over that bridge and made the next step, we knew that we had to make our load much lighter. And the reason why I say that is because when we was leaving out of the condominium development, I had noticed I was on a bike at first. And as I was on the bike and then we started riding further out, I had noticed like it was no longer a bike. It kind of switched scenes because the scene had switched, and now we was out by the main road leaving out of the development and heading towards the bridge. It then became a scooter instead of a bike. So I say all that to say that as we got to the building, the old man decided he was going to go in the building. He actually walked into the building as if he was choosing to stay. And then me and the kids, like I said, we was off to the side. We had a scooter. We had an easel board, you know, like a white easel board, white dry eraser board, should I say. And it's kind of like ones, you know how you get those It's probably about the size of the ones that you see like at IKEA, you know, the ones that you put like in your home, or if you do childcare just for the kids to kind of write on, or, you know, whatever the case may be, about that size that they kind of sell at IKEA. So it was about that size. Anyway, so the dry eraser board was that size, but there was nothing written on the dry eraser board. That was the thing. It was plain. It was white and it had like black rails on it. So again, we had a scooter, we had a dry eraser board, and we also had a basket, which was a black metal type basket or whatever that I actually have for my dog. Like in this real life that I use for her, like if I decide I want to go ride my bike, and I could put her in it in the front of the bike. So anyway, as we were standing there, I knew that I had to make our load much lighter. So I was eliminating things that I needed to get rid of, in other words. And I was getting rid of, because I know that in my heart and my spirit, it was like, okay, we're crossing over this bridge. We can't take all this stuff with us. So it was a matter of start eliminating stuff. So I set the dry eraser board up against the brick building. And then I was telling my daughter, she was like, well, we don't, she was saying, leave the basket. We don't need that. And I was like, no, we should save it for Cinnamon just in case she gets tired of walking. Because I know, like in real life, her little paw pads is just, you know, it's not like you can change the brakes or like brake pads on your car like you can't, you know, you can't do the same thing for a dog anyway. So I was thinking to myself, let's keep the basket. That way we can carry her in it if we should need to, if she gets tired of walking, or for paw pads just kind of start hurting, or whatever the case may be. So I say all that to say that was basically the end of the dream. So I had to go and Google what was the meaning of the scooter, the dry eraser board, as well as what the bike was representing, as well as the basket. So here's what had came to me. So basically, we're going to start with the dry eraser board. The dry eraser, excuse me, y'all. I told you we're coming up on Mercury retrograde, so I already feel the little tongue twist coming in. So the dry eraser board is a reflection of the future. So in other words, I remember I said there was nothing written on the dry eraser board. So in other words, it was plain. It was a represents professionalism, presenting an idea or possibility, professional brainstorming, or noticing an idea is possible, professionalism or thoughtful. I'm sorry, I had to write the notes down. Professional. I can't read my own writing. Professionalism or thoughtful presence, idea that you don't have to listen to, or that you don't have to, oh God, what did I do? Thoughtfulness presented ideas that you don't have to listen to if you don't want to. So that's what the dry eraser board was a representation of. So I don't know if some of you guys may, you know, just know that some things are a suggestion, you know, like even if I'm giving my suggestion, that's just a suggestion. You can take it or you can leave it. You know, like sometimes my kids give their opinion and I tell them it's their opinion, but I don't necessarily have to listen to it, and so on, because I have to make the decisions that's best for me. So I really believe that that's what that is really. I don't know who needs to hear that message, but keep that in mind as well too. Anyway, so the scooter, actually I'm gonna start with the bike. So because remember I said I was on the bike first, and then it after we switched scenes, it somehow it was a scooter then. So anyway, the bike is it's a symbolism of focus, determination, and passion is what I got. And then the basket was a representation of the basket that I was going to put my dog in, because I knew if her little feet got tired that we could, at least two people could carry the basket is what I was thinking, because that's what I told my daughter in the dream, because it has a handle on the basket. You know, you can hold it like this. And I figured that if she gets tired, because she's about 15 pounds, I figured that, you know, two people can hold the side of the basket. That way it's not, the weight is just not on one person. So anyway, the basket is a representation of the ability to overcome any tough challenges as you work towards a better life. And I did see that it said basically if the basket is empty in a dream, it was not necessarily a good sign. But even though the basket was empty, I knew that I could put her in there. So if she's in there, obviously that means the basket is full. So, you know, keep that in mind as well too. So But yeah, I can't necessarily listen to some of the symbolisms that come along with me Googling it, because I have to go off my gut feeling of what I felt at the time in that dream. So I knew that the basket definitely represented the fact of, making the load easier, that two of us carrying it at the same time rather than one person carrying it, because one person carrying the load would definitely just be, overbearing for one person, unlike two people holding a basket and carrying the weight themselves. Anyway, so the scooter was a representation of a desire to be free, happiness, and willing to enjoy your leisure time in open places. A scooter symbolizes modesty and liberation. Front of the consumerism, riding in part. Okay, scooters in front of your company or home advises that you take some free days to rest. So I noticed that I forgot to mention too, like the scooter, as the easel board was sitting up against the brick building, I also saw the scooter just sitting there. So the scooter was just standing there like up tall without anybody holding on to it or whatever. So it was basically just parked near the building. So I just basically, I'm just giving you guys what it says, what if you're riding the scooter or if you were parking the scooter, because at one point we was riding a scooter and then at another point the scooter was parked. So the scooter in front of your company or home advises that you take some free days to rest in front of a beach or a national park. And the funny thing about that was this morning I decided to get up at the last minute, because I told my kids yesterday, I was like, oh my God, I was like, I'm so tired. I just want to relax. But this morning when I got up at the last minute after we came from walking the dog, I had told my son when he had gotten up, I said, you know what, come on, let's go. We're going out. So we just went out randomly today, and honestly, it was just to the point. It was like last minute decision, and it was to the point that we actually, and I'm actually glad we did, because we went out today. We was near water that was probably about almost an hour away from our house or whatever the case may be. And we just kind of sat there on the rock, and the scene was just beautiful. And it was just like, it was just like a fresh relief, should I say, just from the energy that we had just been, that just had been in our surroundings for like the last couple of months or whatever the case may be. So just seeing a new scenery, seeing a new environment, it was relaxing, it was releasing, it was more peaceful, should I say. I'm not saying that my environment isn't peaceful, but at some point, sometimes you just want to move around or just see new things in order to get you out of certain energy, should I say. So anyway, that was it for that particular dream. So take it how it resonates. And as I told you guys before, it's, I know that message just wasn't for me. It wasn't the fact of just needing to get out, because I told you guys before, as these energies ramp up even more, it's going to be so important for you guys to get out in nature and just get out in nature. Just get out in nature. That's all I can say. It's cleansing. It spiritually cleanses you, for whatever it is that you got going on. It helps you to think a little better. It helps you to see things a little better. Just connecting with nature. But anyway, that's just a suggestion, but it's up to you. Take it or leave it. Totally up to you. Anyway, the second dream was about, this one was a situation of, I'm sorry. Let me go back to the other one real quick. So remember when I said that the houses were boarded up? Spirit was also letting me know as well too, that as I was leaving that neighborhood, I am leaving that particular chapter of my life. Like, I've learned the lesson. That's most important. I almost forgot that I've literally learned the lesson. Like, I don't have to worry about, because I know for me, I've definitely had like a lot of dreams. I know it's not just applying to me, it's not, the message is not only for me, even though it's coming in the form of an old neighborhood. Some of you guys have learned in the lesson, like maybe a particular place that you stay or whatever the case may be, and even just evolving and moving to another level. It's the building, the abandoned buildings was representation of, it's almost like of a closing down, of shutting it down, like you no longer need this. You can no longer stay here. You have to move on now. That's what's being given to me. So take it how it resonates. So some of you guys may feel that energy that you can no longer stay right where it is that you're trying to be in your comfort zone. And then some of you have literally learned the lesson to the point that you're moving on to another, how can I say it? You're moving on to another grade. Just take it how it resonates, because this dream actually ties into the next dream that I'm about to tell you about as well too. So when you learn the lesson, it's time to move on. And then God gives you another task so that you can master that one. So anyway, in this second dream, it was as if I showed up like I was in school and I was walking through the hallways, but particularly I was walking down the stairwell of like how you walk down the stairwell to go downstairs or whatever. So I was inside the school building, and I knew that there was lots of kids around, like it was crowded in the hallways. And it was crowded in the hallways, and I was heading downstairs along with other kids. And then all of a sudden it switched scenes. So after I left the stairwell, I ended up outside. And as I ended up outside, I had saw someone that I had knew. Hold on, y'all. I had saw someone that I knew, and they were standing beside a tree. Like, it's almost like the tree was kind of covering them, but I could see them. It's like the tree was shade for them. Okay, thank you, Spirit. So anyway, because I almost forgot this one, y'all. Like, I Googled the symbolism of this other stuff, but I forgot this one particular piece. So anyway, as I was outside, I saw a male who was standing underneath a tree. Well, he was dressed up, okay? So he was dressed up. He had a suit on. I can't remember what color the suit was, but I knew he was dressed up in the suit. And remember, we're at school now, so who wears a suit to school? But we weren't in the building. We was outside the building. And again, he was underneath the tree. So after that, I remember having a conversation with him. I can't remember what was being said, or I don't, it's like we didn't even really have, I remember talking to him, but I don't remember the conversation that we was having, should I say. So I guess that wasn't really of importance, that God saw spirit. Sometimes he holds certain things back, and there's certain times that I can hear people say certain things. Well, this conversation, he particularly held that back. So I knew we was having a conversation with each other, but I just I don't know what exactly was being said. So after having a conversation with him, the scene kind of switched again. This time we was on the track and field. So it was like, the track and field where you have the fence up, the metal fence that keeps people inside of the track area. And it was as if I was standing near the metal fence. And I think I was standing on the inside of the field, I believe. Leaned up against the fence. I can't remember, was it inside the fence or outside the fence? One of the two. Anyway, so there was a guy who had drove up in, those little toddler trucks, the little remote controlled toddler trucks. I guess they got a name for it now. But anyway, I'm just calling them I forgot. My daughter actually told me what it was called. But anyway, the little toddler trucks that we buy, little toddlers and 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds or whatever, the little Jeeps, the little Porsches and all that other stuff, those type of things. So as I was standing at the fence, again, I can't remember if it was inside the fence or outside the fence, but I want to say it was probably inside the fence. I say all that to say because a guy had drove up to the fence, but it's like he drove the car in my direction to the point, okay, thank you, Spirit. I was outside the fence, like looking in, like I was up against the fence, leaned on the fence like this, and then he drove his car up towards the fence. And you know how the fence is not really that sturdy, so the fence kind of just moved just a tad bit. And I was looking at him like, well, what is wrong with you? Like, why would you do that? In other words, so I kind of like got upset with him in a sense, because I kind of felt like he was nitpicking in a dream in a sense. Like, why would you even drive your car over here and to kind of pick in a sense? But anyway, all of that has some symbolism behind it. But anyway, so let me first start with the walking down the stairs representation. So walking down the stairs, and I'm sorry, that was the end of the dream. So walking down the stairs is a sign of suppressing thoughts of your subconscious mind and failures that you may be dealing with in your current life. The very act of walking down the stairs is inactive of inheriting regression to your subconscious mind. Walking down the stairs the very act of walking down the stairs inactive of hesitation, in your suppression, in your regression to your subconscious mind. So I hope, did that make sense to y'all? Let me read it again. Walking down the stairs is a sign of suppressing thoughts of your subconscious mind and failures that you may be dealing with in your current life. The very act of walking down the stairs is inactive of in hesitation and regression to your subconscious mind. And then, let's see. And then the gentleman who was standing outside underneath the tree, it was basically saying, to see someone dress up. To dream of dressing up suggests that you're getting ready for a special occasion or a big event in the near future. So take it how it resonates. So the dream might simply reflect your excitement at being able to go out and meet people again in a formal setting. If you were dressed up in clothing of a character, consider with attributes. Anyway, so keep that in mind as well too. Like I said, I know it was a school scene. It wasn't an event happening. He wasn't at an event. He was just standing outside, and again, he was standing in a suit. And this is not a suit like this is not something that they use for like chorus anything. So I knew it didn't fit the scene of a school. Anyway, so okay, so the school building itself, and usually when the school building shows up, that's usually some indication for us learning lessons or whatever that need to be taught. So anyway, school is a representation of being back at school, means that there are lessons that have not been fully mastered that you will be redoing in order to move into the next lesson or season that God has for you. So keep that in mind as well too, because I know I did a dream. I know I did a message about some people trying to unlock their spiritual gifts. And that was a message of, and actually that message came through as if it was in middle school. But this, I forgot to mention, this was considered high school. So that's how I know that some people are evolving from like middle school to high school. So in other words, it ties back into when I said I was leaving the old neighborhood and it was boarded up. And some people were still there. And when I say some, and I mean probably like a very few, like 5 people out of maybe 5 people out of 20 buildings were left. You know, the homes wasn't boarded up, but most of the homes were boarded up. So again, that was just saying that you've mastered that area. So now it's time to move on, cross that bridge. So anyway, and then the fence. Okay, so the metal fence. The metal fence is a substance that is tough and enduring. When it appears in a dream, it can symbolize hardness or a lack of feelings that come from being overly self-protected. The message is that you're being too hard. So I don't know who needs to hear that message. Whoever needs to hear it. Anyway. So now the track field itself, because I was standing near like the track field, but near the fence, it was a representation of competitive nature of life and the many challenges that it looked like fall. The many challenges that you face in your day-to-day life. You're always in competition with one thing or another. Example, it was like competition with becoming rich. competition with wanting to win back a lover is what it was saying, or even in business. So keep that in mind and take it how it resonates, because everybody's situation is going to be different. Some people, it could be in competition with other family members, so it could be in competition with a co-worker, it could be in competition with, you know, a child with a mom or with a dad, or whatever the case may be. Again, take it how it resonates. Everybody, we're all learning soul lessons, but everybody's situation is different. And the last one was the toy truck, was a representation of that signifies loyalty and your social status in life. You are undergoing changes in your life. You are suppressing some energies or denying your own power. The dream points at your ability to immerse yourself in your emotions while navigating effectively towards your goals. You are revealing hidden aspects of yourself. Okay, so that is it, y'all. I know it's like way in the afternoon, and I normally don't do these videos in the afternoons. It's like 6:33, so I know the energy is just a little different, but I figured let me get this message out, because God saw Spirit was like, I'm gonna need you to get that message out in case a message come through tonight, so you're not trying to play catch up again. So again, just know that some people are evolving and moving on to the next level, and just know that certain things are no longer resonating, and it's time to cross that bridge. And God's not going to allow you to cross, thank you, Spirit, God is not going to allow you to cross that bridge with carrying all the same stuff that you was carrying before. You know, like the luggage. When I said I knew I had to make the load lighter, we had the easel board, the scooter, you know, the dog, the basket. And, you know, we was determined to make our load lighter, because I was like, you know, where we going? We don't need all this stuff. So, you know, God does not want you to carry that old shit. It is what it is, into your new life. And that's how I'm hearing it. He doesn't want you carrying that old stuff into your new life. It can't and it will not exist. So until you learn the lesson of knowing that you can't, God is not going to allow you, thank you, Spirit, God is not going to allow you to be the same person that you once were in any of those new relationships, should I say. It's not, you can't drag the old with you. So as I said before, like when I told you guys I had to get rid of the childcare stuff in order for me to walk into my new path, should I say, and my higher self was like, come on, let's go, get rid of it. So I say all that to say, I had to get rid of everything. You know, I kept the little pieces here and there. Like I literally kept like my little chalkboard, East board, you know, I got it by my front door telling people don't come in here with the BS. You know, like we keep it positive up in here and no negativity is allowed. But I say all that to say I got rid of everything, and I knew I had to get rid of things in order for the new energy to come in. So take it how it resonates. I don't know who needs to hear that message. So keep in mind, and forgive me, y'all, because like I said, I wrote stuff down so close together that, you know, I guess maybe next time I just need to just screenshot it rather than writing it down and rereading it, because at some point I just started not being able to see my own handwriting. But anyway, so I hope that message was very helpful for you guys. Until the next message, I just wanted to say, keep your head up, stay positive, surround yourself around positive people who just got to surround yourself around positive people. If you want things to change in your life, it's almost like you got to surround yourself around people who are, what's the word? People of higher frequency, in a sense. Because I'll say one thing about me, and let me give you an example real quick. God had me on this journey when I first started this journey. It's almost like I noticed that God had me around. It's almost like God had me around business owners, because that was, and I started to notice the common thing. I was like, why is everybody I'm running into that like they own their own business? But what I didn't realize is because God was placing me around those people so that I have that same mindset. So I say all that to say, you got to find yourself, you got to surround yourself around people who have that mindset of where it is that you want to go. In other words, I say all that to say, because I'm hearing Spirit say, you can't take chicken heads with you. Sorry. Can't take chicken heads with you where you want to go, because chickens are just picking up the food off the ground, and you know that's just what they're doing, and no harms to the chickens. You know, but I'm just telling you what I hear. So in other words, it's like, you want to be a business owner, it's like God had me surrounded around God had me surrounded around business owners, and I was just noticing. I was like, okay, I see it. He was just trying to get me to change my mindset in a sense. So if you want to find yourself getting stuck out of that energy, sometimes you got to surround yourself around those people who are business minded or like minded. I'm not going to say like minded because I know some of you guys are coming out of that energy. So, but yeah, it's almost about, it was allowing me to be able to think big. I've always knew that I was supposed to own my own business or whatever, and you know, because I come from a bloodline of people who did that. So I say all that to say, just being and working with other people, it just wasn't working for me. And I really had a hard time with, should I say, after we closed the doors of our Action Child Care Center after about 12 years or whatever the case may be. I had a hard time with just trying to be out here because I was like, these people aren't really sincere. These people are just about $1 over their head. They look at the kids and it's like, it's about $1, not necessarily caring about the kids, but it's like, how many kids can we pack into a classroom? Like now I see with the school system, it's like, how many kids can we get to come back into the school building, that we can get money from or get assistance from the state from them for being there. And for those kids who have not come back, well, guess what? They're not getting the money for it. So it shouldn't even be about that. But anyway, I say all that to say, I'm not for poverty mindset, but I am for building financial wealth. So I say all that to say that, I'm all for building financial wealth the right way, and the right way is God's way. And I say all that to say, because when you build it on a solid and a firm foundation, you don't have to worry about it crumbling and falling. Unlike a lot of people who are becoming unrooted right now, because a lot of their foundations that they have built, they built based off their own ambitions and drive, and some of those situations are starting to crumble. Anyway, so when you don't have God in the mix, that's what happens. So with all that being said, I ask that you guys, if you so choose to, hit that like button or hit the subscribe button. That way, the next time I upload another video, that you guys will get a reminder. Anyway, and bear with me because we are coming up on Mercury retrograde. So I told you guys before that it kind of affects my communication. So I may be seeming like I'm stumbling here and there over words, on top of the fact of just having dyslexia as well too, that crossfires come here and there. I just kind of forget what it was I was about to say. But anyway, just the stumblingness is just more so, it has a lot to do with Mercury retrograde. And I just started noticing that, 3 years ago, that it was affecting my communication. I never knew why. I knew that there were times it's like I was feeling stuck with the energy when speaking. I was like, why am I doing this? Like, why? Where is this coming from? But anyway, I realized it. It's a part of me knowing thyself. So with all that being said, you guys stay beautiful. Until the next prophetic message, I wish you all much love, much light, and peace and blessings. Bye.